Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is a courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill. Good morning to one and all present here. I am Jayalakshmi from 4MCom Christ deemed to be University.
And this is Netra from 2MCom Christ deemed to be University. We welcome you all for this Samshodhan speaker series. Today, with us, we have Ms. Bindu Jayaram, who not only brings wealth of professional experience but also stands at the helm of, of, uh,
Of a brand that is in making waves in the culinary world. Joining us is the founder of iPaaka, a brand that meaningfully merges tradition with modernity, that offers instant, ready to cook and ready to eat mixes that meets the demands of our fast paced lives, all while staying true to the essence of natural and preservative free ingredients. She is a professional with expertise in application outsourcing and application management, project metrics, process improvements, and more. With a keen eye for detail and commitment to excellence, she has honed her skills in decision making and negotiation to a level that's truly commendable.
our guest isn't just a business leader. She is also a clean food activist and a consumer rights advocate. At iPaaka, where tradition meets modern, the focus is on delivering instant, ready to cook and ready to eat mixes that are not only preservative free but also crafted with natural ingredients.
Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. We are glad to have you on board for the welcoming, and we welcome you to Samshodhan Speaker Series.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, you are such an inspiration to all of us. But can we also hear from you? What is your inspiration behind starting iPaaka and how your background in the application outsourcing and application management influenced your venture into this culinary world?
Sure. I think this is one basic question I get asked every time. And I always say that the necessity was the mother of all inventions. Basically, I was a working mother. It was my own need for such a product to make my cooking easier. I just wanted a fixed solution to cooking. Now, this was a reason for starting iPaaka, but what was the drive is basically my passion to feed people around me good regional food, be it my friends, my colleagues, and family. So that basically drove me into starting iPaaka. Now, when you say application outsourcing and application maintenance, those were not specifically something that influenced me starting this venture. However, I wouldn't say there's no impact at all because the companies that I worked with, like especially process driven companies like Accenture, really made me think about process being organized and how to assess risks and take everything in a very process driven way. So it definitely has influenced me in how I run the business.
So, as you have said, necessity is the mother of invention. It indeed is. Moving on. Ipaka emphasizes the fusion of tradition and modernity in its culinary offerings. How do you navigate the balance between preserving the traditional flavors while meeting the demands of fast paced modern lives?
I think this is a great question, simply because you rightly said lack of time really defines all our modern lifestyles. And I'm a classic example of that. And no matter where you go, no matter what kind of world cuisine you try, at the end of the day, when you come back home, all you crave for is a bowl of hot rasam and rice. Now, this is the food that you relate to. This is the food that your mom so lovingly made for you. This is the food that you've had throughout your childhood. And no matter what you eat outside or prepare, from the world cuisine, you always want to go back to childhood. You want to always go back to that nostalgia of having the comfort food. Now my solution to this comfort food versus lack of time is basically take any traditional recipe, convert it into a ready to cook or an instant mix, and voila, your your comfort food is ready in 10 minutes. Now this cuts down the cooking time by up to 75%.
Yes, ma'am. And moving on, as a clean food activist and a consumer rights advocate, how has your commitment to these principles involved in the overall philosophy of iPaaka?
I'll admit, I'll be very honest. I was not a clean food activist forever. It's only in the last 3 to 4 years that I'm running iPaaka that I have become an activist for clean food. Now, the background behind it is when I was researching about the products available in the market, the brands available in the market. Before I started iPaaka, I realized that most of these brands and food products are money making machines. People really don't care what they're feeding their customers, what goes into their system, and how it will affect them in a long term. In fact, there are so many circumstances where I have seen that they themselves don't consume that food knowing that it is not good for them, it's not healthy. So this really put me into thinking as to what is going on in the world. I mean, is there anything that is ethical, anything that is where businesses are conscious about what they're doing? And that's when I kind of educated myself into clean food eating and what is clean food and how you can make food without using these chemicals and all that. Now in my small way I started imparting that knowledge to people around me, be it friends or be it colleagues and family, where like you tell them how essential it is to know what you're eating, what is going into your stomach, what you're feeding your kids, how do you read a label, what goes into a label, what are the different kind of chemicals that the food industry uses, although they're all permitted, although they're all approved by the food board. Still the long term effects of each one of them are I mean, I can't even describe what it could be, but they're very fatal. And one of the key things that all food manufacturers struggle with is the shelf life. Now, the simple solution to managing shelf life of a product is adding class 1 and class 2 preservatives. They are very cheap. You can simply add them, and your food product, which could potentially live naturally for 3 months, can extend up to 12 months. But the chemical will still be in the food when you cook them, when you consume them, and it goes into your body and it has its ill effects. Now, knowing this, I did not want to take that route of adding chemicals to make the products better. I wanted to walk the talk. I've been telling people that this is clean food, eat this, don't eat that. Now, I didn't want to get into the bad business of, selling chemical food with chemicals, right? So, um, I take pride when I say none of the iPaaka products have any form of chemicals, be it preservatives, be it emulsifiers, be it colors, taste enhancers. There are so many types of chemicals that are added to food just to make it very tasty, very attractive to even look at and all that. So I take pride when I say that we don't add any one of those chemicals. So that's how I have applied my philosophy of eating clean food into our products at iPaaka.
Very nice, mom. We have also heard that a famous entrepreneur is the one who will understand the pain point of the customer. And throughout your journey, we have understood that you are constantly involved in understanding what people want. And also, you also mentioned about educating people in the way, like sharing your philosophy to your colleagues or people who work at iPaaka. Definitely, when we share about our philosophies or our ideas to someone, initially they might not believe in us. They might start doubting us. So, could you please tell us what are the challenges that you faced in this competitive world? And if yes, how did you overcome them?
Um, Food industry is highly competitive. Basically everything revolves around price, the price of the product. And there are so many commercial brands who bulk manufacture, and they manufacture it at a very throwaway price. They have great margins. Even if they're selling at a very low price, they would have manufactured it a much lower price. The margins are great because the kind of ingredients they source is also very not that of a good quality. Now, um two challenges that I faced. One is that I cannot match that price because we source the best quality ingredients. exactly what I would use at my home, and then we make products out of it. Number one. Number two, our shelf lives are shorter, and we basically handmade, and it's a handmade product. It's not a bulk manufactured product. So I couldn't really match these competitive prices that are there in the market. So that's one challenge that I had. The other challenge is there is a common belief that ready to cook food products or processed food are bad. But that's a very wrong misconception. Not all processed foods are bad. Now, it is important to understand what is in that processed food. Is it just to make it, is it a food that makes your cooking convenient? Is it a food that, basically has all those loaded chemicals that can affect you? So there are two different types in that. So you need to understand, you need to educate people that, hey, look, although it is an instant mix, it's actually not bad for you. You might think it is bad, but it's not. Look at the label, see what is in it. This is exactly how you make it at home. I've just made it easier for you. So educating people about that was a challenge. So the way of handling the pricing is that I stopped competing with these commercial brands because there's absolutely no way I matched their price. We were maybe at least 30 to 40% higher price than them. That was number one thing. So any wholesaler, any retailer, any exporter will ask you, can you match that price? And I was not able to. Now, while I was struggling with this pricing issue and educating people, I found the right set of audience that could cater to both, is where I entered the organic market. Organic market or organic stores is where it's a niche market, although it is not a mass product, it's a niche market where people come looking for healthier options. People come looking for products that are handmade, homemade, which are curated, which are specialized recipes, which basically might cost a little extra, maybe 20 to 30% more than the commercial products, but it serves their purpose in terms of there are no chemicals in it, and the quality is great, the freshness is great, they're ready to pay that price. So that's where I could probably move away from being a mass product to a niche product, where you serve the target customers in a way that they appreciate your product. They come and tell you that, wow, this is great, this is what I was looking for. I don't want the commercial commercially made and the bulk prepared product, but this is great, this is what I need, this is exactly how my mom used to make or how I make at home, so you made it easier for me. So that's where I found the balance between, okay, pricing is also fair, where I am able to manage it with the smaller batches, and then handmade, homemade product. Plus, they also appreciate what you're doing, what you are contributing into, making these products. So although I'm not like really overcome all the challenges, but I'm on the way towards it, educating people about it. And in fact, since they're already aware of their choice into not using chemicals and organic products and all that, I didn't have to spend too much time into educating them as well, that you should eat food without chemicals, you should consider this, because they're already doing it. So that made it slightly easier. But yeah, I'm on the way towards making it happen. Yep. So that was my way to handle it.
Nice. Sustainability is the growing concern in the food industry. How does iPaaka incorporate traditional practices, I mean sustainable practices, right from sourcing of raw materials or be it ingredients to the packaging stage?
So first and foremost, that we manufacture in small batches, which means that the products are not only fresh, but we also manage the mismatch between supply and demand. Let's say I manufacture too much, but the demand is not much. A lot of food product gets wasted, which we don't want to. That's why we manufacture in small batches so that we can manufacture often. I can probably manufacture every alternate day than once in a week or once in a month. So that was one idea, where we can reduce wastage. Also, for packaging, we don't use a one-time packaging, material, which means that a lot of food products, you see, you just tear open the pack and you throw it. You probably fill that or the contents into another dabba or container, and then throw away the packaging. Ours is not like that. It's a Ziploc, three layered packaging which you can use to store until the product gets over. Plus, you can also use it to store other things in the future, maybe some grains or anything, because it has a good quality Ziploc packaging. So that we reduce the waste uh, with the packaging. Now, there's also this UNEP food wastage, basically report that I was reading, that 68.7 million tons of food is wasted annually just in India. No, which means that there's about 50 kgs per head of food is wasted annually. Each one of us are wasting 50 kgs of food, which is like, my God, there's so many of them who are, not having enough to eat, and then we end up wasting 50 kgs. So one philosophy I have with iPaaka is that you can control the quantity of food that you prepare. You don't have to like really prepare a lot and keep, but you can prepare only as much as you need. You can prepare even for one person with, let's say, one spoon of the product. Now, this not only helps in quantity control, but also food wastage, but also it also helps reducing the wet waste. Let's say you in general cook something, and you prepared for four, but only two people end up eating it. The two people portion goes into the waste. So here, since you prepare smaller quantities, only as much as you need, so it doesn't go waste. So we are also cutting down on the wet waste here. So at a household level. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice, ma'am. You were talking about the three-layer packaging and also manufacturing in small batches. Could you also please elaborate on us the role of technology and innovation in the development and production processes of iPaaka's instant ready-to-cook and ready-to-eat mixes? Maybe in one or two lines.
Yeah. So I give all the credit to CFTRI in terms of the technology and innovation. They're doing a splendid job. Any requirement you have in the food industry space, you want to start something, all you need to do is check out their website, consult them as to what are the technologies available. They keep innovating on new products, and they keep publicizing about it. So it's a one-stop shop for me. I mean, for everybody, in fact. So I give total credit to them. Now, also, technology is very imperative in terms of, reducing the costs. Because I was talking about the costs earlier, right? The cost of production, cost of packaging, and all that. So it is very important to use technology so that you can bring down the cost. Now, although we are not using state of the art, machineries and stuff in our unit, we are using semi-automated machines. Now, how this helps is basically it cuts down the human intervention to a great extent, and basically also helps keep the hygiene of the food, because the more humans touch the food and be part of the process where they're handling it, so the more hygiene issues will come up. So that's where I see technology becomes very important. One is reduce the cost, also maintain the hygiene.
Excellent, ma'am. I mean, being an expertise in project metrics and process improvement, how do you apply these skills to continually enhance the quality and efficiency of iPaaka's product and services?
This is a great question, and nobody has asked me this question ever again. And a lot of times I used to think as to, okay, I have been in the IT industry, I've worked for so many years, and what did I really take away from it? And although it is not very evident as I can pinpoint, but there are a lot of things I learned in the IT industry, and which is applicable, which I'm applying even now. Like, let's say, assessing risks and how do you mitigate them. We used to do that extensively in IT, and it is very applicable in my current field also. Like effort estimation, how much effort does it take to a manufacture, and then pricing calculation, or how the pricing calculation is done, the estimation, and then drawing up a milestone and project plan for a new product that is under development. What it takes, and what are the milestones, and the what do you call, the testing that we do and all that stuff. Now, there's another important thing is the feedback analysis, feedback report analysis. Every product will collect a certain feedback from the customers, we analyze that, and the inputs from that will go into the improvising the recipe, and then fine tuning it. So these are things that I actually learned while I was in IT, doing A1 and AM, and also the presentation skills, where you want to present something, what you're doing, how you're doing, your metrics and all that. What percentage of customers did this, or what percentage is repeat buying and all that stuff. So those are all the things that came naturally to me, because I have been in a field where all these things are used in a day in day out fashion. Yeah.
That's really great of you, ma'am. I mean, a true leader will always capitalize on the opportunity. Now, my next question will be, as a leader in both business and advocacy realms, how do you envision the future of iPaaka and its impact on the culinary industry?
So it's a very broad question. Just going to tell you some short-term vision for iPaaka. One is that we are trying to see if we can get into the HoReCa segment, which is the hotel industry. Now, I have known that hotel industry extensively uses instant mixes and ready to cook. Although we think that they prepare from scratch as a consumer, then they don't. They use a lot of these instant mixes. Now, when I was talking about food wastage, right? So a lot of this food wastage, in fact, the stats that I gave you is only at a household level. But I'm sure there is as much food wastage at a restaurant or a hotel, kitchen, as much as we are estimating it to be at a household level. So there's a lot of food wasted when you run a restaurant or a hotel, because you can't estimate who's going to buy what, how much quantity of what goes. So all you do is you kind of have a vague idea. You prepare a quantity, a certain quantity, 25 liters, 50 liters, let's say, of sambar, and then you keep, and then you think that people, it'll get exhaust that day, or a lot of time they recycle it also. Now, what we are trying to do is that if at all we can get into that industry and provide these instant mixes where hotels can prepare only as much as needed. Let's say they prepare only 5 liters of the sambar, or even 3 liters of a sambar, even 200 ml of the sambar, they'll be able to do it. They'll even be able to do it 100 liters of a sambar. So they only prepare as much as needed. There are restaurants where people go to for a certain to try a certain cuisine. Let's say a North Indian restaurant where there is both North Indian and South Indian on the menu. North Indian is what is sought after, but there may be a few customers who would also want to opt for a South Indian. Now, you can't prepare the South Indian food also with equal quantity as much as a North Indian, because you don't know whether anybody will walk in today asking for a South Indian food or not. Now, that is when our products come to a rescue, that once you receive an order, you can actually start preparing the food. You don't have to do it in advance, because you don't have to prepare and keep. You don't have to recycle. You can always serve fresh food as soon as you get an order. So we are trying to, bring down the waste that is generated to the hotel industry also. So that's one thing. See, the other thing is that I want to reach a larger audience in terms of clean food eating habits, and educating them about just, basically go beyond my friend circles and known people. Although I bring it up in every forum that I go to, but want to consciously do it in a larger way, that also help them understand how to read food labels. If I ask you, do you know what E201 is? Would you be able to tell me what it is? On a
No.
food label, in an ingredient. So it signifies a particular chemical that is used in food. So if it is mentioned as the name of the chemical, or if it is mentioned as an emulsifier, you still understand, okay, there is something called an emulsifier. Maybe it's a chemical, I'm not sure, but it's added in the food, in the ingredient. But if you read it as E201, you'll clearly dismiss it, because you don't understand it. It's a coded language, and you not even bother about what it is, or you won't really bother about googling. So these are certain things that I want to poke people on, say, read the food labels, understand what it is, and these are the codes that are used, and these are very harmful for you, especially for your kids and all that. um, what affects us affects 2 to 3 times on our kids because their systems are small. Their system is maybe functioning at whatever 30% of us, the whole digestive system and the whole body. So if it affects you to a certain percentage, it'll be 3 times that for a kid. So one thing I'm very happy about the way things are turning out is that the millennial crowd is very aware of what they're eating, what goes into that food, consciously choosing what to eat, what not to eat, consciously choosing what they give their kids, the snacks, and like they're very conscious about it. So I a lot of times feel that we are going in the right direction. One of the examples that I can quote is the recent debacle about health drinks for kids, where somebody on social media, some influencer brought it up saying there's 50% of sugar that goes into it, and how can companies do such a thing when the kids are taking it, right? There was so much of stir. There was so much of a roar about that on social media. It actually made a lot of difference. It actually created a dent in the that particular brand's business. And what they really had to do is a step to reduce the sugar percentage in the product, which was phenomenal. I think if people are thinking in the direction of, look, I'm not going to take whatever you give me, and this is not good for me, so you should be conscious about it and give us a product that is healthier. Just because we are okay to buy it doesn't mean that it's okay to add anything to it. When people speak up, when people are actually standing up for it, and it makes a difference, and the businesses turn around to make those change, I think uh, that's it. We are really heading in the right direction, and it's going to make a lot of difference in the future also. I think people will also start questioning, and I want to be part of all those advocacies, and where people, I would like to lead some of them to say that, look, this is not okay. Just because you want to run a business, you can't just sell anything, anything and everything. So yeah, I mean, those are the future plans. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, I think we are heading in the right direction. People thinking about all these things. So it's great. It's great.
Nice, ma'am. You spoke about socially conscious consumers, and you being a socially conscious founder or an entrepreneur, do you have any message to all those young entrepreneurs who are yet to establish their business or in the way of establishing their business?
So two things I would like to say. One is that start early. Don't take too much time, dwell on the idea. Someone else will take it. Someone else will start something with it, right? Start early. Number one. Number two, irrespective of what you do, whether you start a business, you're working for someone, or you're planning to start a business, just apply or get into an entrepreneurial mindset. It's very important. Think about how you can bring about a change in anything you do, be at household level, be at home, be in your job, be it your business. It's very important. It will take you a long way. The third thing is, um, start a business that is ethical. That is something that is beneficial for people, and you're making money as well. Making money is also important. I'm not saying that everybody should run NGOs kind of thing, but making money is important. But run an ethical business. Don't make money out of causing harm to people, where you don't look at the long term aspects, and you be your first customer. That's how you know it is ethical, right? If I'm making products I myself don't use, then I don't see a point in it. It'll probably end up somewhere where you'll end up in the courtroom, where people are questioning why this and why that, and all that, and people are affected by it. But run an ethical business. Think about it. Be conscious about what you are getting into. Make sure that it doesn't affect people but only benefit them. And obviously, as a side product, you will get benefited as well. You will make money. There's nothing to debate about that. But yeah, consider running an ethical business.
That was nice, ma'am. So, with this, our young entrepreneurs are on thoughts that they will have to start early and also profit with a purpose, which is
Yes.
very important.
Yes.
And with this, we come to an end of our interview. On behalf of Christ Deemed to be University, we would like to thank you once again, ma'am, for joining us today for the Samshodhan Speaker Series. It was indeed a great pleasure meeting you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. Thank you.